I'm recording it for those people that might come in a bit later. Um, the main focus is probably going to be using course books. But this ties in to the second written assignment, evaluation of teaching / learning materials, WA2. But don't worry, it's some weeks away before you even have to write this, so but I'm just showing you now so you can like get thinking about what's required for it. Yeah. Then we'll have our main focus on course books, and the final thing will be to look at a method of teaching um, the meaning, form, pronunciation of either grammar or vocabulary without using too much teacher talking. That's called the guided discovery method. So that's what we'll finish with today. So first off, let's have a look at this evaluation of teaching materials rubric or the instructions for this, because you'll see why it's kind of important that we focus on course books. Let's just get this up for you. Okay, so this is the second written assignment, but it's not due for some weeks yet. So don't worry about it. Um, but as I said, it's useful to be thinking about it. So the aim is to demonstrate your ability to select, adapt, reject, and supplement material with a rationale and to plan a lesson based around it. For this assignment, you're going to look at a page from a course book of your choice and describe how you would exploit it in the classroom. So, select a page from the course book. Now, it could be from face-to-face elementary, which you're going to use for your teaching practices, or it could be from the course book that I'll show you tonight. But it says do not choose anything that you've seen someone else use in a lesson. Now, explain why you would use it, like what the aims of the lesson are involving its use, how you would exploit it, so what you would select, adapt, and reject, and the rationale behind your methods. What additional material and activities you would employ and why. So you have to write a brief outline of the lesson you would devise. This can be in the form of a chart or a grid, or can simply be a list of the lesson stages. It's not necessary to write a full lesson plan, but it should be possible for the reader to see the lesson at a glance. Now, you could use this assignment for one of your lessons on the course. Yeah. So one of the teaching practices that you're going to give, you could combine it, right? Actually teach the lesson in your teaching practices. So here are the assessment criteria. Meta language is all about like grammar terminology, so on. And here are the recommended reading texts for this. And they're all in the resources, in the library section. Okay, but we'll have a look at it again. This rubric, these instructions, closer to the assigned time. Let me just check when we have to do this particular assignment, just to clarify. I think it's not until Oh, I don't actually have to set it until 1 month from now. But so you've got plenty of time to do it. So let's have a look at course books then. Now, I'm going to give you access to a course book on PDF. And I'd like you to put a check, Palomita, next to the items or sections you can find. Okay. Uh, so these are the different things I'd like you to look for in the course book materials. Now, audio scripts are like it's like the tape script at the back of the book where you can see what the audio people say on the audio. Uh, I think it's pretty fairly clear, the other stuff. All right, this is on the trainee handbook, and it's unit 24, page 91. TypeScript. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to see how much of this you can tick off. It's like a gist reading activity, so you've got to look through the materials quickly and try and identify it. Okay, so
I have a question.
yeah,
Sorry. What page is of the...
this is page 91. It's either
Thank
page
you.
90 or 91,
Okay, thank you.
unit 24. Okay, so now I'm going to give you the actual links. It's all online. You'd like to. Can you click on the links? All right, so I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to see how much of this you can identify and put a tick next to the ones you can find. I'm going to turn my camera off so you can do this individually, and then we'll compare our answers in pairs afterwards. it's perfectly okay to go ahead and download any of this material, yeah, and save it to your computer. Okay, so that was just an opportunity for you just to skim through the materials and see if you could find each of these things. Uh, like everything in TKT, there's a lot of terminology, so you need to like use the right terminology for the course books as well. So let's start with activity book or workbook. When might it be useful to use the workbook? Go ahead.
I use workbook in my class and also for homework
Yes.
because yeah, they can practice the topic.
Yeah, there's often good controlled practice activities, aren't there? Yeah, so if there's a grammar or vocabulary thing you need to give a little bit of extra practice with, that can be useful. As you can see, they're mostly kind of controlled, aren't they? Although there's some extra reading activities as well. So if you're looking for extra reading material, that's where you can sometimes find it, right? And there's sometimes even extra listenings or even writing tasks. It's mostly grammar and vocabulary, isn't it? All right, so that's activity. Well, I think Found the recordings all right, yeah? Pretty easy to find.
Yes,
The audio files.
yes. In my school, we use a platform for Macmillan. So
Right.
in that platform, we have students workbook, recording resources, extra teacher material like grammar, reading,
Uh,
speaking skill. We have all of. I can show you if you want, but we
maybe a
have
bit later towards the end when we talk about
ye-
problems and solutions.
yes, we have all the material
Yeah,
there. It's
great.
it's
Now, what about
nice.
audio scripts or tape scripts? Did you find those?
Yeah,
Uh,
they were in the audio files drive.
no, that's the actual audio. But what if you want to check what people have said on the audio? This can be useful as a backup when you're doing a listening lesson, right? Because sometimes students keep saying, "Oh, play it again, teacher, play it again, play it again." But the trouble is that you're not really helping them to understand just by replaying. So it's a good idea to have the audio script ready, right, as a backup, because it can be very time consuming if students are constantly saying, "Teacher, play it one more time," you know, and you're not really developing their listening skills just by repeat playing. So that's the audio scripts. Now the teacher's book, very useful. Um, Strongly recommend you always read the teacher's book that goes with the materials because it's useful to notice what is the what are the materials designers, what are they thinking? Yeah. What do they think are the recommended procedures? Yeah. I'm sure you do this as practicing teachers. You do actually read over the teacher's guide, and they also have the answers as well, which are very important. Right? Anything else that goes into the teacher's guide? Well, sometimes they have extra ideas like this one, play hangman, don't they? That's very useful. If you're not sure about the procedures for teaching pronunciation, follow the procedures in the teacher's guide. Songs, and they have the answers to like these test activities. So there's another question, wasn't it? Test and test like activities. Well, you can find those in the student's book, but the answers would be in this teacher's guide. So here are the test or test-like activities. So if you need to give your students a little grammar test or vocabulary test, you can adapt these, can't you? Extra reading material, we've already mentioned. Could be in the activity book, could be in the teacher's book. What about a dictionary? Did you find a dictionary? Was there a dictionary in any of this?
Yes, but um, not like that. But at the end of the books, they have
Mm,
some meanings of or definition of the vocabulary that
right.
comes to the that comes in the book
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, it's like a like a picture dictionary, isn't it? Here, like this vocabulary bank. That's quite useful. Yeah. And because it's elementary, there's lots of pictures and stuff to support them. Now, what about the website for students or teachers? Did you find anything interesting there?
Yes, well, when I was starting my career,
Uh-huh.
I had an English book that we can see, or we can, for example, do more exercises using the platform that is work with NetGeo and Talk. So we
Uh-huh.
see real stories or real examples and practice the English.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, but this new English file is well supported. Um, you'll see because it's a pretty popular course book, this new English file, and it's gone through many editions, and it's produced by a reputable publisher. So they do provide good online support, don't they? So there's the phrase book here, more grammar, vocab, and other support learning record. That's quite useful for keeping students motivated. They can check off what they've been studying. It's quite a good one. Encourages the students to be more responsible, take more responsibility for their own learning. Any other things you noticed when you were looking through English file?
Maybe we can use a reader like books. Let me, I have
Yes,
my,
yes.
I can share with you. This is,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't, oh my God. Ah, sorry.
I
Yes.
know it. Yes, those are very good.
Then we have inside the the book, the story, and we have activities from. Let me change my. Mm, okay, here. This is a book, and then we have inside activities and the story by chapters, one by one. And also it's the audiobook here.
Uh,
So we can hear the story together or read it, and then we have the activities by the chapters. So I think this is very nice.
do you know what the technical name for those kinds of books are?
Mm, no.
Okay, in TKT terms, they're called graded readers.
Ah, okay.
Graded readers.
Yes.
Yeah. Why are they called graded readers? Any idea?
Mm,
Because we work considering the level of the student according to the English level and the knowledge they must.
Right. So it's like slightly simplified language, right? That they provide. Not too simplified, but slightly simplified. Yeah, and they reduce some of the content as well, so it's not as big as the original book. Okay, now we're going to do a course book evaluation. And there are 3 stages in the evaluation process: initial, detailed, and in use. We're going to be focusing on the initial today. This is a quick overlook to see if the book is worth looking at more closely. So to do this, you can do a catalyst test. And we use these terms: communicative, aims, teachability, available add-ons, level, your impressions, students' interests, and tried and tested. So I'm going to ask each one of you to write your questions in the table. And here's an example. Communicative. Is the text, the coursebook text, communicative? So that is, will the students be able to use the language as a result of using the book? So these could be personalization type activities in which the students have to personalize the language. So if it's something like present perfect, they need to talk about their, maybe their experiences, their life experiences. But you can think of as many questions as you wish, and I'd like you to actually put them. I'm going to give you a Google Doc, each person. Andrea. And I'd like you to write your answers actually on the Google Doc, and then at the end you can transfer them to your handbook, all right? It'll be easier for us to see what you've written. So for the communicative, I've rephrased this a little bit. Are there activities that make students use the language in a meaningful context, in a personalized way, in a purposeful way? And then we've got aims. So that could be something like, are the lesson aims clear? For that, you might have to look in the teacher's guide. All right. So as you're doing this, you can be looking at the English file book. Right? Is there a main aim? Is there a subsidiary aim? Teachability. It's referring to how easy is it to teach the material? Is there available supplementary material? What level of it is it suitable for? Your impressions, students' interest. Tried and tested. That refers to, has the coursebook been used by many teachers and many students over the years? All right. Sometimes you can get a sense of how well it's being used. So if you look at the back of this New English File Elementary book, it says at the back who has used it when they were developing the material. Also, how many editions has it got? If it has a lot of editions, well, it's probably a pretty popular course book. All right, so I'm going to give you each a link, and you can write your questions in there. So I'd like each one of you to devise some questions. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to send the link directly to you. Andrea, here comes yours. There you go. Emmanuel, here's yours. And Liliana. Okay, I'll give you about 10 minutes to see how many questions you can devise under the different categories. Any questions?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
You've got about 3 minutes left. Just try and make sure that there's at least one question for each of the letters of catalyst. All right, so let's go through them, shall we? These are Andrea's questions. Let's just read through them, see if they make sense. Teachability. Why does it being digital, why does that matter to its teachability, Andrea? I think it's an interesting point.
Well, for example, in my case, it's because we can project the book in our classrooms, so we can make the activities. We can do the activities at the same time that our students. So we can answer questions. They can come to the front and answer. That's the reason.
Yeah. So I suppose part of that is like, is it interactive?
Yes, and
Yeah,
also
it's
the
important,
book
isn't it, these
has
days?
extra information in some topics, so you can click on the activity, and it has like a video or some podcasts to contextualize the information that we are teaching to our students.
Great. Yeah. Where can I find the material? Yeah. Is it in the book? Yeah. You could also say, is it expensive? Because sometimes it's free, but sometimes you have to pay quite a lot of money for the extra supplementary material, don't you? Yeah. So is the material separated by levels? Yeah, most of these popular course books are, aren't they? Is it the book for the level I teach? Yeah. Pressures do like it. Yeah. Is it recently published? Topics I need for my class. Why is that important?
Because maybe it's a very nice book, but you have to complete like a calendar the for the students or for the topics you need to teach at that level. So it could be nice the book, but it doesn't have the things you have to use for your class.
Right. So yeah, I mean, you could ask, are the topics relevant for the students? Because sometimes maybe the topics are a bit too adult orientated, yeah. But then we've also got to consider, are the skills, are you covering all of the skills, reading, writing, listening, and speaking? And is there a good range of grammar, right? Yeah, do they like the material? Are the books, do they include their interests? How many years have we been using the material? Yeah, good. Let's go on to Emmanuel. Yeah. Does the material help to achieve the objectives of the class? Is that possibly?
Yes.
How easy or difficult is it to teach? Yeah. Does it have enough resources? Does it have enough extra practice? Yeah. Suitable for the level? Why is that important? Is the material accurate for my students?
Well, as you said, some topics can be very adulthood related, or if I have teenagers, probably they will get more appropriate,
Appropriate, yeah.
better, yeah.
Yeah, interesting enough for the students. Yeah, how did the lesson go when I tried the material in the classroom? Very good, yeah. Good one. And then on to Liliana. Can I change the aims in the book? Why is that important?
Maybe in the book I have to do something with my students. And for example, maybe in lesson 1, students need to understand the verb to be. That it's only in lesson 1. But maybe I move on to lesson 2 and they don't understand verb to be. So I have to repeat that lesson. Okay, I did lesson 2, so let's move on to lesson 3. They didn't understand yet the verb to be. So maybe I can modify the aim to understand students, understand verb to be in lesson 1, 2, and 3 maybe, not just in one lesson, I think.
Okay. And you say that teachability and visual resources are important.
Yes, because maybe sometimes I find a material, a book, a video, or whatever, but the visual resources are not good. So maybe the explanation of the topic is great, it's brilliant, but maybe the pictures or all the visual effects are not clear, so my students can't understand clearly the topic.
All right. Then on to available supplementary material. Is digital material important for you as well?
Yeah, for me it's great, but maybe I have students that can't use a computer or they don't know how to write on a PDF document, so they prefer a printed document. So which one is better, digital or printed? So I don't know. Maybe as a teacher I can use both, so students can decide.
Yeah. So on to moving on to level. Can I identify the English level in the book? Yeah. How can I use the material according to my requirements? Yes. So it's like, is it adaptable?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Can I, yes, maybe incorporate or integrate?
Yeah, for example, if I need to see a grammar tense or a grammar topic, maybe I can use a movie or a song or a TV show
Uh-huh.
that my students love, and I can teach better the topic, and my students will understand better.
What do you mean by are there good and bad interests?
Sorry, what?
This one. Are there good and bad interests?
Maybe, for example, if I need to talk about, I don't know, Independence Day here in Mexico, and using simple present, for example. Maybe my students are like, yeah, like narcos and drugs and alcohol, and so I know that maybe it's your interest or you like it, but here in classroom maybe we can use another kind of interest. So yeah, we can talk about Mexico, but in a good way or in a beautiful way, not just make emphasize in those things. I think maybe.
Okay. And tried and tested. It's not really about assessment. It's about how well, how often has this course book been used, and has it been used by other teachers in different countries? Yeah. Sometimes that's kind of a problem with some course books, is that they're too global, right? So that the topics in the course book maybe not that interesting for Latin American students because they're designed for a global audience, right? So that's something to consider as well. It's like if the course book is very much for a global audience, maybe even though it's popular around the world, maybe it's not so suitable for your students. Okay, so once we've done our evaluation, let me just give you some other questions that you could ask. So aims, does it fit with your aims and objectives? Does it seem teachable, as in under teachability? Is it reasonably easy to use, well organized, easy to find your way around? Are there any useful add-ons? So this is supplementary materials. So if so, are they available? Level. Does the course book have the right level for your students? What's your overall impression? Are they likely to find it interesting? Tried and tested. Has it been tried and tested in real classrooms? Where? By whom? What were the results? Sometimes you can find that information online. So after we've done the catalyst test, it's always important to pilot the course book. So actually use the course book with a real class of students. If this is not possible, you can use a published questionnaire. It is better to apply the questionnaire at least with 2 books to have a way of comparison. Once you have adopted a textbook, it's necessary to re-evaluate it constantly. No questionnaire, however elaborate, can give a conclusive answer to the final test. Does it work in the classroom? Does it work with this type of students? So then we have this problem of adapting materials. If you were faced with these problems, and the problems are stated on your handbook. So I'd like you to read over the problems and think of your specific context. All right, Andrea, you mentioned your course book that you have. Possibly you could try and answer this with your course book in mind. So what if the task or exercise is too short? What if the task or exercise is too long? The task doesn't suit the learner's learning style or preference. Maybe they have more of an audio style, auditory, and it's very visual, or vice versa. After a long reading text and tasks, learners need a change of pace. They need to do something different, maybe productive skills. The activities always follow the same sequence. There is not enough practice material in a particular unit. Okay, I'm going to give you 7 minutes to jot down your answers to this, possible solutions. Please note them down first on the Google Doc that I sent you. Then you can copy and paste them into the handbook. I'm going to ask each of you to give feedback on two. So, Andrea, could you start with the first two? The task or exercise is too short and task or exercise is too long.
Yes.
What
The
would you
first
do?
one, okay. The first one, the possible solution I can find is like add a game with the topic of the class, or add examples, or ask of if one of the of if your students have any question of the topic. And if the task is too long, you can divide it into classes.
Ah,
One can be the introduction,
yeah.
part of the, for example, for the grammar, and the other you can continue with the grammar, and then you can do some exercises.
Ah. Let's see what Liliana and Emmanuel said. Try another dynamic using the same topic. Yeah. Divide the exercise in three parts. Yep. And split it over different lessons. Good job. Good idea. Extra practice activities, says Emmanuel. Yeah, do it in different sessions. Good. Liliana, can you tell us what you would do for 3 and 4? Task doesn't suit the learner's learning style. After a long reading text and tasks, learners need a change of pace.
Well, for the first, I think I could modify my activity using the learner's interest or movies, TV shows, or video games. And for example, if my students are visual or they learning using this kind of activities, maybe we can watch a movie or a TV show according to the main topic of the class. Or if they are kinesthetic, we can make we can act in a role play, like if we are the actors in the movie.
Yeah.
And my students are auditive learners. I think we can use songs and practice the main topic of the class.
Yes. Good idea.
And for the second, it was what? The activities always follow the same sequence? Yes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for this, I was thinking that I could make a list for the activities. For example, if we first do 5
Oh,
exercises.
no, you're doing number 4. After a long reading text and tasks, learners need to
Okay,
change of play. So,
okay. We can
yeah.
try a mindfulness activity, and I do this with my students that
Yeah.
we can practice our breathing and we can relax for 5 minutes. Also, we can practice yoga or some exercise to stretch our body, and we can have a brain break that are like little games that we can, for example, my students love the floor is lava. So we have 5 minutes or 6 that we play, but we are relaxing our body and mind to continue and yeah, keep
Yeah.
focus on the activity.
Yeah, those would be good. Yeah, especially if they involve productive skills like speaking or writing, because after a receptive skills activity like reading or listening, it's often good to do something productive. Well, let's see what else people said. Andrea said, adapt your task to all types of learning, use a video, do some acting. Yeah, that's similar to the idea that it's visual learners. Yeah, add a game or dynamic that your students stand up out of their places. I like that one. Oh yes, find another activity so students can develop another skill. Correct. I can ask them about their thoughts or living experiences related to the reading. Yes, it's always good to have a response to the reading, isn't it? Okay, great. And then on to Emmanuel. Can you tell us?
Which one?
I think it's activities always follow this same sequence, or there's not enough practice material.
Okay, the first one, I can play a game with them. I don't usually do that because where I work, the activities are scheduled. So that will be new for me. So to do a game with them or watch a video related to the topic or a warm-up activity, something like that. For the second one, that there is not enough practice material for a specific unit, I will look for a different material, for example, a song, and they can fill in the blanks of a song. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then the practice material. It's usually pretty easy to find control practice activities, but it can be more difficult to find freer or fluency type activities in course books. So you could look in sometimes in the teacher's guide can provide ideas for that. Okay, let's see what else people said. Liliana said, make a list with the activities and change the order using a wheel. How does that work, Liliana?
For example, if my activity is divided in 4 steps and they are always in the same order, I can make a wheel with the 4 activities, spin the wheel, and for example, we can start the class doing step 4. Okay, we do step 4, spin the wheel again, or maybe we can do the second step, so spin the wheel, and then we can change the order of the activities, but are the same activities.
Not enough practice material, design the material and share it with students and colleagues. Yes, that could work. Yeah, add exercises. Switch the activities. Add exercises you can complete. The task, audio, visual, or some quizzes. Yes. Quizzes, always good to have. Right. So we're almost done with course books. Just before we finish, there's a practice task from module 2 of the TKT. So let's not get out of practice doing practice tasks. Now, these are instructions, course book instructions. All right. Now, they may be from the course book itself, or they might be instructions written in the teacher's guide. So we've got to match the instructions with the terms A to F. Okay, I'll give you about 5 minutes for this. I'd like you to submit your answers at the end of 5 minutes in the chat. Start the clock starting now. So the answers are yeah, one is C. Because that's reading for gist. Notice the keyword is quickly. 2 is A. Yeah, it's to do with structure. It's like grammar. That's A. 3 is F. What are the keywords? What are the clues? Well, it's played again. Normally, there's a gist listening first, and then the detail comes second. True and false questions, you've got to listen with some detail for that. Listen closely. Number 4 is E. Yes, this is to do with cohesion. Pronouns in the text. Remember when we were looking at reading skills, you had to decide what he referred to, what she referred to. So that's cohesion. And it's called finding connections is E. Number 5, words that go together is collocation. B. 6 is correct. Yes, most of you is fluency practice. Good job. Andrea?
Yes, I have a question on number 7. Because the answer is the letter H, but I don't understand why.
Because it's not actually making you listen for detail or specific information, so it must be gist. And this is the typical listening for gist. This is the typical gist activity that you might do at the beginning, the first listening, so that they get the chance to identify the extracts with the speakers. So it's imagine you've got pictures of people with doing different jobs, right? And then in the listening, they mention the jobs, the work that they do, right? So they're like, one of the pictures is a doctor with a stethoscope, right? And a white coat. And he starts talking about how he deals with his patients. He listens to their heartbeat and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So that would be gist. Number 6. Groups of 3 discuss the problem and decide on the best solution. Yeah, it would be oral fluency. Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? Did we say 5? Yeah, collocation. Okay. So that's course books. I think we can move on now to guided discovery. And it sort of combines well with course books because modern course books often use guided discovery type activities. Okay, but I'm not going to explain to you straight away what a guided discovery activity is, I think the best thing is if we participate as if we were students. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some material, and I'm going to teach you a short lesson. Well, part of a lesson. It's not even a full lesson. And I'd like you to participate as if you were intermediate level students, all right? Okay, there we go. Here's the material coming into the chat now. That's not it. Stop. No, not it either. Aye. Tell me, before we start reading this, tell me about some good health habits that you have.
Okay, for example, I run mostly every day.
Go running every day.
Yeah. And then in the mornings. So I like doing that.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I'll put your name next to that. So these are positive ones, but let's think of some negative ones you may have as well. Do you eat too much sugar, perhaps? Any of you?
No, but I drink too much coffee.
Okay, that's a good one. Unhealthy.
For all the teachers, the coffee is
Yes.
like the water.
Yeah. Any other you could mention?
And a positive, I would add I walk to my work every day.
Okay. So does this apply to you as well, drinking too much coffee, Andrea?
Yes, and some days because I have the classes like one and then another, I don't have so much time to take breakfast, to have a breakfast. So it could be negative.
Yeah, skip breakfast. What about you, Liliana? Do you have any positive or negative habits?
A positive habit could be that I drink water, like
Okay, yeah, drink
my
plenty of water.
my 1 liter or 2 liters in a day.
Yeah.
And a negative habit, I use my cell phone before to sleep, before I go to sleep.
Wow. Okay. All right, so I'd like you now to read this text about Sam's habits. Do you think she's a healthy person? Does she do anything that you do?
Yes, I think so, because she jogs as I do.
She goes jogging. She doesn't say that though, does she?
Well, she exercises.
No, he says most days I work 10 to 12 hours, which makes it difficult to find any time for exercising.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So I will put on my glasses.
So it looks like she doesn't. She doesn't have your healthy habit, Emmanuel. She doesn't have much time for exercising. Looks like she drinks too much coffee. She goes to Starbucks or has Coke, so maybe too much caffeine. Yeah. So let's put that one as a tick.
Maybe he can change the coffee at that time for, sorry, for some water.
Uh-huh. Does she drink water?
Sam's, Sam, not.
No. Does she walk to work every day? Doesn't say.
It doesn't say that.
Does she... She does have healthy breakfast most of the time, she says. Yeah.
And she doesn't smoke or
She doesn't
drink.
smoke, so that's something healthy, doesn't it? Right? Okay, good. Now we'll get to the language analyzing bit. Okay. All right. I'd like you to let's work together. Look at these phrases in bold in the text. How many can you see?
6.
6, yeah. All right. So I'd like you to, as you can see, they're about frequency, aren't they? I should have left that blank, yeah. But you've got the lower frequency and then the higher frequency. So two of them have been done for us. Can you please categorize them according to whether you think they're lower or higher? Yeah. Then go on to A here. Write as many possible words to complete the expressions of frequency. So we've got every once in a while, once in a blue moon, isn't it? An example. Then I'd like you to discuss where can these types of expressions go in the sentence? Do they go in the middle, the beginning, or the end of the sentence? Okay. I'm going to give you a few minutes to just work on this together. Okay. Guys, the idea is that you talk together and try and figure out what the answers are.
We are doing
It's all right. Do it individually first, but then I'd
individual.
like you to compare your answers. Don't do number 2 yet, yeah?
Okay.
Because that's pronunciation. We'll do that together.
Well, for lower frequency, I think, well, I grow down once in a while. I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, I have the same. Also, I wrote because I have here every so often. I think it's lower frequency.
I grow down more often than not.
In higher or lower?
Lower.
Okay, it could be.
And then, so
Yes,
most of the time, definitely higher, right?
yes.
And also, every so often, higher, or what do you think? I'm not sure.
Yes,
Yes.
I think. Lily, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I agree with you. Also, most of the time in
Most of the time.
in the higher frequency.
Yes.
Once in a while is definitely lower, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And also more often than not, it's
Lower frequency.
mm, no, I think it's higher.
Okay.
Yes. Lily, you have the other of the lower frequency.
No, just the examples that we said.
Okay. And in the second part, Write as many as possible words to complete the expressions of frequency. It could be every now and I don't know how to write there.
Well, I'll write it for you, shall I? So
Okay.
every now and what? What's the missing word here?
It's and again.
Again.
It's at the top of the.
Yeah, it's in the text, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
But are there any other variations that are not in the text that follow this pattern? Every now and how about then? Every now and then. Yeah. What about most?
Most days.
Most days.
Most of the time.
Okay, but that's with of the, so it's slightly different. So that's most of the time, is that one. Can we say most weeks? I think we can, can't we? Most weeks. Any other possibilities?
Most months.
Yeah, most months, most years. Talking about this is less frequent, but it's still regular. Most years. So those are all possible variations, aren't they? How about, are there any other possibilities with most of the?
Most of the weeks.
We can say most of the weeks. We can say most weeks, but not really most of the weeks. I think we can say most of the day. We can say most of the week. Even most of the month, most of the month. I'm working hard. How about the final one? Every so.
Often.
Yes. Are there any other possibilities you can think of that are not in the text? How about you could say every so many days? Weeks and years. Now, where can these expressions go in a sentence? Just look at the text. Do they go in the beginning, the middle, or the end? Or all of them?
I think at the beginning of the sentence, but also at the end.
Uh-huh.
So,
Well, what about this one as well?
but oh my God. Yes.
It's in the middle of the sentence, isn't it?
Well, you can use it in any part of the sentence.
What does it depend on? What does this depend on? You said they can go at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Why? What's the rule?
I think maybe the phrases that we use for lower frequency go at the end, and the phrases that we use for higher frequency go in the beginning.
It could be. It could be because the ones for higher frequency, you want to emphasize them, so you bring them to the front, right? Yeah, but basically the rule is it depends on the emphasis that you want to make, right? If you want to emphasize the frequency more than other aspects in the sentence, then you would bring it to the beginning, right? Like most days, more often than not. All of those are bringing the frequency to the fore in the sentence. So that's what you need to say, tell your students. It depends what emphasis you want to put on it. There's no hard and fast rule. Look at the. So here are the answers, just to confirm. Check you got them all right. These are the variations. Now notice that one of them is an idiom. Once in a blue moon. And that some of them you pluralize like most. Huh? So you put the S on. Whereas more often than not does not change. Most of the day, week, or year is singular. Huh? How can you check? Well, you can find these in what's called a corpus, which is like a statistical bank of language. Right? Ah, let's do some pronunciation. Finish. I'd like you to listen to these sentences and mark the stress according on the correct words. Also, note, are there any sounds that connect to the others? Okay, so you've got 3 sentences here. The first one is done for us. All right. Notice which words are being stressed. You can copy the little square and put it on the stressed words. Okay, so I'm going to play each sentence twice. You listen and mark the stress. Okay. At the end, I'll ask you to show you your markings.
Okay,
Ready?
ready.
Every now and again, I feel tired. Okay, just getting this ready. Let's play it.
Every now and again, I feel tired by midday. More often than not, I'll just have a sandwich. I do have the occasional drink once in a while. Every now and again, I feel tired by midday. More often than not, I'll just have a sandwich. I do have the occasional drink once in a while. Every now and again, I feel tired by midday. More often than not, I'll just have a sandwich. I do have the occasional drink once in a while.
Hi. Can one of you please show me your markings for more often than not? I'll just have a sandwich. Can you screen share? Who'd like to show us? Go on, Andrea. Okay.
I just add yellow marker
Yeah. Why? Why did you choose those words?
because in the listening part, it sounds like more stress than the other. So I think it could be the answer.
Uh-huh. Possibly, yeah. I agree with often, not, and sandwich. I don't agree with though.
Okay, this one not.
No, why? The. I don't agree with the. I agree with
Okay.
do, but I don't agree with the.
Okay.
Why don't we usually stress the?
Mm, I don't know. Sorry.
Did Siona tell you about content words and grammar
Ah,
words?
yes,
So what is the? Is it a content word or is it a grammar or function word?
grammar function word.
It's a function, yeah, word. Yes, we don't normally stress them unless
Okay.
there's a special reason to do it, yeah?
Yes.
Good. Would anyone else like to show us which ones you stressed? Emmanuel?
Yeah, yeah. Let me show it to you. Here, where it is. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I can't find. Ah, okay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. Yeah. Have is probably would, yeah, you would stress it because it's a main verb. Yeah. But I think you'd also stress sandwich, at least the first syllable in sandwich. Sandwich.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And what about you, Liliana? Can you show us your markings?
Yes, just give me a minute. Um, yeah, there it is.
often than not, I'll just have a sandwich. Yeah. Probably not than, but probably not. Yeah. I do have. I think you would stress do because it's like an emphasis. I do have the occasional drink once in a while. Yes. I think you'd stress once as well. Drink and once in a while. It's like a rhythm, isn't it? I do have the occasional drink once in a while. Good. Okay, let me just show you my example answers. Notice the linking. More often than not, becomes one word. Just have becomes of. I'll just have a sandwich. In connected speech, when we're speaking fast, once in a while it gets linked together. Once in a while becomes one word almost. All right, now you can turn your microphones off and so we don't interfere with each other. So let's just practice saying them. Every now and again, I feel tired by midday. Repeat. Thank you. More often than not, I'll just have a sandwich. I do have the occasional drink once in a while. Okay, thank you. Good job. Now, so I'd like you to switch back to being students now and think about these questions. First, what was the language focus? Second, why was this a memorable learning experience? I hope you found it a memorable learning experience. What did the teacher do? And what would follow? What would come after this demonstration? Can anyone answer the first point? What was the language focus?
On frequency adverbs.
Excellent, yes, frequency adverbs. Yeah. Number 2 is a bit of a leading question, but why would it be considered a memorable learning experience for some people?
Maybe because we can share our healthy and unhealthy habits with others and compare them.
That's part of it, yes. And so it's something you can relate to.
And also we learned new vocabulary.
You're learning new vocabulary, yes. The question is, I guess, is that is it me, the teacher, explaining things, or is it more you trying to work things out?
We are trying to work things out, definitely.
Yeah, ideally that's what should be happening, yeah. I'm not saying it worked that way, but that's what should happen, yeah, with this guided discovery approach, yeah. So what did the teacher do? What is the teacher's role?
monitoring.
Yeah. Did I ask you questions?
Yes.
I
Yes,
should do, yeah. I should ask you questions to probe or deepen your understanding. All right. What would follow? What comes next after this demonstration? After the pronunciation, what would come next, do you think?
To use that in our lives and in our classes.
Right, so maybe some practice activity, right? Because what we did here was to do with awareness raising more than anything, right? It was clarification. So after the clarification and presentation of the language, then we have some practice. Usually controlled practice first and then some freer practice, right? So that, yeah, so that you could use it in your own lives. Okay, so this is here are the answers. So what did the teacher do? I set the tasks, I help you along. In the language clarification, I highlighted semi-fixed structures. That some are fixed and one is an idiom. I asked form checking questions. I used visual clues on the board to help you. What would come next? Well, there's controlled and freer practice as with a text-based approach. Now, next week, with Siona, she's going to give you a demonstration of a text-based lesson. All right, which may involve some of this guided discovery. So watch out in her lesson for her use of a guided discovery approach. Now, I'm going to give you some more examples of guided discovery activities that you could find in course books, since we've been looking at course books today. And if you please open this. Well, we'll analyze them together. Here are 3 activities found in course books. Andrea, could you please read the first activity for us? So the instructions is look at these 3 examples of a guided discovery and think about what they're asking students to do. Try and find a common approach. So could you start reading with the word look?
Yes, look at these phrases and answer the questions. I like to have everything done for me. I'm getting my house redecorated and we have our newspapers delivered.
No. So could you continue? Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, if you have your newspapers delivered, A, do you do it? B, does someone do it for you? And number 2, what is the correct structure? A, have, get plus object plus infinitive, or letter B, have, get plus object plus participle.
Okay. So can anyone answer those 2 questions? If you have your newspapers delivered, do you do it or does someone do it for you?
Someone else do it for me.
That's right. Yes. Something that someone does for you. So the answer is B there, isn't it? Which is the correct structure? Is it
Letter
A or B?
A.
Are you sure?
Ah, no. No, it is B.
It's B, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, be careful. That looks like an infinitive there, doesn't it? But yes, you need have object past participle. So it's a bit like a passive structure, isn't it? Okay, so that was have something done for you. Now, Liliana, could you look at number 1 for it in the middle here? Which 2 questions?
Yes, sure. Number 1. Which 2 questions below do we usually use to ask people about their plans for Saturday afternoon? A. What do you do next Saturday afternoon? B. What are you doing next Saturday afternoon? C. What will you do next Saturday afternoon? D. What are you going to do next Saturday afternoon? 2. What is the difference between these 2 questions?
Okay, can anyone answer them? Kind of given it away in the first one, haven't I? By highlighting them.
I think letter B.
B, yes.
And letter D. Letter B is present continuous and letter D is
Yeah.
going
So
to.
that's correct. Yeah. So this one is present continuous. In a question form, right? And this is the going to form. Now, sometimes it can be sometimes difficult to explain what is the difference between those. Can anyone explain?
Going to, it is a plan, an arranged plan.
Okay, but isn't that also the present continuous?
Yes. So I don't know.
Anyone else want to have a go at that one?
I don't know, but maybe it could be that the sentence B tell us for something for something that you are going to do. Oh my God, no. For something that you will do. I no, sorry. No. I have the same problem as Emmanuel. In my head sounds correctly.
Okay. So I think the B is to do with arrangements have already been made, right? There's an arrangement being made. But the second one is that you're asking about what their present intentions are. Yeah, no, there's not a lot of difference, but there is a bit of difference in terms of the meaning. Yeah? And that's why it's for upper intermediate because it's kind of a difficult one. That. Now, Emmanuel, could you look at the third one for us, please?
Yes. When she started when she started her new job, she had bought lots of new clothes. Number 2, when she started her new job, she bought lots of new clothes.
Oh dear, I forgot to omit. I should have omitted this word.
Okay. Should I read the exercises?
Yeah.
Okay, the sentences are different because one has the extra word. Number 1, she bought clothes before she started her new job, but in the second one, she bought clothes when or after she started her new job.
Uh-huh. Okay, so what's the missing word? What's the extra word? That's different. It's just the word had, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah.
So number 2 is past simple in both. But number 1 is past simple plus past perfect. Yeah, so it's before she started, right? That indicates that the action took place before she started the job. But in number 2, could be when or after she started. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So these are guided discovery activities. The idea is that I don't explain you so much that you kind of figure out the rules for yourself. Right? Now you can see this is what they look like in the course book. This is cutting edge upper intermediate. Right? Where we got this present continuous and going to. So you try and figure out what the answers are, what's the difference between them, and discuss it as your students. You discuss together, try and figure out what the rules are, and then the teacher clarifies at the end, and the teacher can use these rules to help the students if they still don't get it. Yeah. So we look at page 154, 155, and you've got the explanations. Right? The more traditional explanations. Going to. We use going to express present intentions for the future. Present continuous. Talk about something we've arranged for the future. Yeah. So if the students still don't understand, after working through these activities, you can tell them the rules. Yeah. That's the backup. That's the plan B. That makes sense? Okay, so just some summarizing. What are the benefits of guided discovery? Well, guided discovery is student focused. a class being active, involved in working things out for themselves. In this way, by the time this teacher does the language clarification stage of the lesson, students have already had an opportunity to think for themselves. Whether the student is right or wrong at this stage is of low importance, as the two stages, students thinking and the teacher clarifying, are the key points. When students have problems with grammar, the teacher typically responds by giving them facts about the grammar, explaining the rules. Right? That's what we call the deductive approach. Guided discovery gives you an alternative. It helps you to respond in a way that will allow you to encourage the student to think for themselves, guiding them to the answer. This leads to a more successful learning experience for the students. Well, not always, but most people agree that it's more engaging because we're getting the students to think harder. Yeah, less explainy. It allows you to compare two often confused grammar structures in a meaningful way. Learning is memorable as students are working out the rules first for themselves and then with the teacher's help. Good. So I hope you get to maybe apply some of this in your teaching practices in a few weeks. It's kind of easy these days because the course book material often includes these types of activities, right? But it will help you to know, that's a guided discovery activity. It can also be helpful if you read through the instructions in the teacher's guide, because it's not always obvious what you're supposed to do, right? So read the instructions in the teacher's guide. Any questions before we finish?
No.
No, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
Carmen has just reminded me to please make sure that you're doing your modules on the platform. This week it's the role of error and error correction. All right.
Okay.
And so there's no class on Monday because it's Dia de Asueto Oficial, Independence Day.
Yes.
So maybe you could work on your LRT task on that day. And what are you going to do? Are you going to go to the desfile militar? Huh?
No.
Just
No.
stay at home and relax?
Prefer.
Yes, very good. Okay, well, if you have no further queries, questions, or doubts, we can finish.
Okay. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. See
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.